Yeah, so have you read the Quran?
Quran, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I'm a Muslim and I have read Quran 40 times.
40 times, wow.
Yeah, and it's like a regular ritual for us. We
Right.
need to read that, we need to get into that state. We offer prayer, that's namaz. We do rozas in the month of Ramadan, then we have Eid. So it's like a constant upbringing to that level.
I want to talk about your prayers. So there's 5 prayers in Islam,
Yeah, we
correct?
have 5 prayers
Right.
on Islam.
So where do the 5 prayers come from? Are they found in the Quran?
Well, yeah, it actually emerged before the Quran, right? Because we have prophets, we have Ambiyas, we call them Ambiyas. They got that narration from Allah and then they narrated it down to make a Quran. But before Quran, they actually established this namaz, concept of namaz, which was prayer for like, now it's more easier, it's like 5 times a prayer.
And how would we know that, where this namaz comes from? Where would we be able to find the source
because
for
we
it?
have prophets, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
And if these are not in the Quran, where would I be able to find the namaz or the prophets? Where would I see them?
In Quran, there are events, there are happenings of reality. It's not like you can find how to read, how to actually offer a prayer. There's no instruction according to that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so it comes from the Ambiya or the prophecy, right? So Quran is actually a book, a holy book, which belongs to a prophet, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
But I actually want to get into that because the claim from Muslims is that the Quran is from Muhammad and it was given from Muhammad. It went through Uthman, Caliph Uthman in the year, say about 652, around that time. And then after 652, it was compiled and then sent to other cities like Basra, Damascus,
Because
Syria.
that's the last book, right?
The problem is the sources that claim this happened, they come 200 years after Muhammad. So they're written in Sahih al-Bukhari. I don't know if you know about hadith.
No, sorry.
Okay, so hadith are the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, according to most sources, right? And according to Sunni Islam. I don't know if you're Sunni. Are you Sunni?
Sunni?
Yeah, Sunni.
No, it's like, so I'm half Sunni, half Shia, you can say, because there are conflicts, like Sunni Shia conflicts and Muslims, right?
There's only really one. It's regarding the hands of Allah. Do you believe that he has literal hands or are those hands figurative?
I will restrain talking about that, because sometimes, like, if I'm a Muslim, I have certain beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes there are topics which we don't even have the knowledge or something.
But that doesn't, but sorry, but if you don't have the knowledge to speak about it, that's fine. I understand that. But what I mean is, when you say you're half Shia and half Sunni, I would say there's no such thing because there are Sunni precepts. For example, believing in hadith. Now, you've mentioned 5 prayers which only come from the hadith. The 5 schools of fiqh, for example, prayer, paying zakat, salah, all these things, they come from the 5 pillars of Islam. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
But this is found in a hadith. It's not found in the Shia hadith,
actually,
it's found in
that's
Sunni
not the
hadith.
root of the Islam, right? It's like the separate sects. It's like Sunni, Shia, Barelvi. There are so many sections about that.
Of course, there are.
Yeah,
In fact, Muhammad says there will be 73 sects.
Yeah, it's like my mother
in the
is
hadith.
Sunni and my father is Shia, right? So sometimes it's like you need to cope up with both of your parents.
Of course.
Yeah. So that is why I said like I'm half Sunni and half Shia, because I know both sides. I know how to pray, because in prayers, a Sunni will offer prayer in some different instructions, right? And Shia will offer prayer in different instructions.
Exactly, yes.
So it's a complicated thing.
So what I want to get to, because you obviously claim to be a Muslim, so you claim that the text is obviously authoritative, that it was given to Muhammad in the year 600 AD in a cave, right? This is the claim for most Muslims, right? Now, how do you know for certain that Muhammad received revelations from Allah, that the book you have today is the Quran, and that fundamentally that it was Allah that gave that revelation? How do you know this?
Well, yeah, it's obviously I'm born in a Muslim family, and then there we go, that it's like a Shia and a Sunni Muslim family. But I would say, I'm so sorry, English is not my first language.
That's fine.
My grandparents, or you would say my ancestors, right? It's like a route which you follow.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you're getting the answer which you are looking for, but yeah, that's how I know that I belong to this sect, because if I look back to my ancestors, right, they're following something.
Yeah.
It's like hundreds and hundreds of years of censorship, and people are following a certain route. So that is how I can...
But what I would say is this, look, there are many Jews, for example, who don't believe in Muhammad, and they claim to follow the tradition going back from the time of Moses, right? They would claim a lot of things the Quran doesn't say no, sorry, that a lot of things the Quran says are not true. For example, the Quran says that Uzair is the son of, or is Ezra, sorry, is the son, no, that Ezra is the son of Allah or something like that. But they wouldn't claim that at all. They would never claim that.
It's not in Quran, it's in, I would say, Bible.
Oh no, it's in Quran.
It's in Quran.
It's not in the Bible. Nowhere does the Quran say that Ezra is the son of Allah. Do you want me to show, in fact, do you want me to show you where it says in the Quran? Because the Bible doesn't say that Ezra is the son of Allah, but the Quran does.
Then, because the Quran, which I read with Tarjuma, you would say translation, it wasn't there because there are so many copies where people are actually manipulating stuff as well. So it's like.
But my problem is, bro, when Muslims say that other Muslims are corrupting the text, you have to show the original text to claim there's corruption.
Yeah, because, then here we go. Because we have ulamas and Maulvis which have the original copies which are handwritten.
They all claim, every ulama, so for example, every imam you speak to, they always claim something different. So how would one know exactly what the truth is without appealing to the Quran?
Well, okay, for that consent, we have Saudi Arabia, like they have the original copies which are handwritten and they have sanctioned that, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be vigilant enough to, even you if you're buying a book, you would say like I'm going to buy a book, I'm going to purchase a book.
Yeah.
You need to know that you're buying a Quran, you need to buy the right copy. Now I can also think that if I have the correct copy or not, but it's just that.
Yeah.
A few ulamas have the original handwritten copies.
But do you speak Arabic, by the way?
No,
Okay.
I'm from Pakistan.
So and majority of Muslims are from Pakistan, by the way. So it's not anything new. But what I'm basically saying, look, most Muslims, majority, even the ones in Arabic countries, haven't studied the Quran well enough to know what it says.
Yeah.
And I would say this: you're claiming that Muslim scholars or the ulama have gathered the text right from Muhammad, but we don't have that. What we have, in fact, is your earliest manuscript of the Quran is the Birmingham portfolio or the Birmingham folio, right?
Yeah.
The Birmingham manuscript dates to about 700 to 800 AD. So this is years after Muhammad.
Okay.
I can show you, in fact. This is a scholar. His name is Tyre Al-Coolidge, right? He says this.
Okay.
Because the Quran itself says, if you read the Quran, it says itself that Allah will guard his words. That's one of the things. He says this in chapter 15, I think it's verse 26. He also says this in chapter 18, verse 24. Right.
Okay, well, I don't remember this much because I haven't done.
Oh no,
it's like you are prepared for that, yeah.
It's fine, but how I say is when we study things, we've got to have reasons for believing them. Sorry, well, let me get the Quran verse. Oh, not the Quran verse. So this is on one of the manuscripts. No, that's not the Sunnah. Sorry, 1 minute, bro. Top copy. No, that's not. Top Sunnah. So this is the Sunnah Palimpsest, right? So this is the Sunnah Muftaf, right? This is a guy named Jay Smith, if you want to look at him online. But he's done the studies more than I have. But he's basically, look, this is the Sunnah Muftaf. So this is the early Quran. It was 750 AD.
Yeah.
Right. So we're talking at least a good 100 years after Muhammad, because Muhammad died about 652. Yeah, around that. Yeah, and basically, that's the Sunnah manuscript. That's a copy of it, right? This was the manuscript, which is the oldest manuscript in existence today. So this is the oldest manuscript we have today.
Yeah.
If you look closely under ultraviolet light, in the photograph bit, the lower text is dated to 671 to 705. So what they've done is by radioactive grading or something like that, right? Or radiocarbon dating, sorry. What they've done is they've looked at the text and they worked out it's around the time of 671 to 705 AD. They've given that around that time, right? But the upper text, so the one right up there, that's dated to 705 AD. So that's beyond Muhammad. Now we're talking years after Muhammad has died, right? So now we have two conflicted. Now what we have is a change, because obviously, if you as a Muslim believe the Quran can't be changed, then you have a problem here, because the Quran clearly has been changed. There's a body of text that was written beforehand. I'm sorry if I'm speaking too fast, I'll try and slow down. But there was a body of text that was written beforehand, and now there's a body of text that's written over it, which is problematic. If you believe the Quran hasn't been changed, what's the problem with that?
Yeah.
All right, so this is Karl-Heinz Ohlig, and he's talking about the Sunnah manuscript. He says this: the Quran began to be compiled in the last 2 decades of the 7th century, with other versions continuing in the 9th century. So it wasn't compiled during the time of Muhammad.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
No, it wasn't compiled in the time of Muhammad. After his decease, it was actually compiled.
But the problem is the Quran, the authors of Quran, the hadiths claim and I don't know whether you accept hadith or not, but they are attributed to Muhammad. They claim that somebody called Ubay ibn Ka'b was the scribe of Muhammad, and he wrote it down during the time that Muhammad lived. Now I want to ask you a question, right, just to get you more involved in this, right? During the time of Uthman, he said he'd burnt, that basically there was Qurans with many different versions. There was many different versions of the Quran around Mecca, around Medina and stuff like that, right? He then standardized the Quran with a copy he took from Hafsa, right? That Quran, he claims, came from other Muslims who had the Quran. How is it that if there was no Quran at the time of Muhammad and he didn't write one, how is it that they knew what the Quran was at that time?
Oh, okay, well, obviously a complicated question, but because of the learnings we got from the Quran and the things, it's actually like when after this decease of Muhammad, it actually was like the caliphs actually gathered the scripts or the descriptions which Muhammad wrote himself, right?
Yeah.
And they had the original copy. So they gathered all of those pages, all of those writings.
But stop there. You just told me that there wasn't an original copy because you said that it wasn't written during the time of Muhammad.
It's like Muhammad get the narration directly from Allah and he wrote it down, right?
But you told me he didn't. You told me there wasn't a copy. In fact, I read to you Qain's Oleg, who says that it wasn't written down at the time. It was written 100 years after Muhammad, in the 9th century.
The Quran, which was written after the decease, right? It was written by the caliphs because they gathered the pieces. They gathered the scripts, which was written by Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But at that time, it wasn't compiled.
But you're not hearing what you said, brother. You told me earlier that there wasn't a Quran during the time of Muhammad. That was your words.
Yeah,
but now
no,
you're telling me that the caliphs
yeah.
took and copied from a Mus'haf that existed at the time. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's like the caliphs know that because Muhammad used to do this jals, you would say, gatherings of Muslims, right? And he used to narrate or I would say speak about what he was actually given by the Allah, right? So they unconsciously or consciously, every caliph knew that Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has been narrated by Allah, right? And they didn't know that he's writing it down. But Muhammad was doing that.
Can I stop you there? You're still claiming, unfortunately, bro, that he wrote it down.
Yeah, he did. He did it on the pages.
But are you telling me that Muhammad wrote the Quran down?
Yeah, but it wasn't a compiled one, so we don't call that a Quran at that time. It was just like the narrations, the ayat he received. Because now Quran is in a specific order, right?
Yeah, but the Quran means recitation. You do realize that?
Yeah, yeah.
So that would mean that he has to be a Quran. If Muhammad wrote down a Quran during his time, then it has to be the Quran. The problem is we don't have a copy of his Quran, nor do we have copies of that Quran. We have Qurans from hundreds of years afterward.
Yeah, but it's like, I can be wrong, I'm telling you. It's just like you are asking me, right, to answer. Yeah. So it's just my knowledge, which I'm giving to you.
Of course, of course.
He was given the Quran recitation, right? But now the Quran we have, it's in a specific order. But beforehand, when it was delivered to Muhammad, right, it wasn't in a specific order.
Right.
I cannot answer that. I'm so sorry.
But I'm not talking about the order. I'm talking about what the Quran was. Even if it wasn't in the same order as the Mus'hafs we have today. So
like the first
there's 140.
Ilma, right?
Of course.
Everyone needs to.
But the fact is, brother, there's 114 surahs now. During the time of Ubay ibn Ka'b and during the time of Uthman, in fact, there were different surahs sent to the 5 cities. For example, there was 116 surahs in the Mus'haf that was sent to Basra. There were 114 surahs in Damascus, and I think 114 other. So there's 2 cities that had 114 surahs, and there was 3 others that one of them had 111 sources. I think that was Basra. What?
Okay, but
so
I'm not aware of that.
No, it's fine. But this is why I tell you, so you can seek out this information, so you can learn, and then eventually you can come to the conclusion. That's
because these questions are so important, and now I'm feeling like, I still don't know much about this because the origin is like.
Of course, look, I'm not. Here's the thing: I'm not expecting you to know everything like you're a scholar. That's not his point. What I'm trying to do is to get you to really truly think about what you believe in. Because, like me, I used to be an atheist. I used to believe that there was no God and there was no reason to believe in God. But then I came to the conclusion that science was not asking the questions as why we have a material consciousness, why there's a hard consciousness problem, why evolution exists, why fish to fisherman evolution exists. All this stuff was not being answered by genuine scientists in that field, and that's why I left that stupid idea of atheism. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, you and I have a worldview, so we've got to measure that worldview by what we believe, right? I want to tell you something else. So the Quran says, by the way, what do you believe about the Bible?
I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm getting a call. I need to go.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, because. She
Oh, that's
said
a
that I
shame.
just-
Oh, that's a fun. Can I, before you go, can I give you something to really further your study?
Yeah.
Because you seem like a very intelligent man, and that's good. That means you're going to study a lot. I want to give you something.
If it is something religious, I cannot take it right now because I'm heading to a club. But
It's more of what I've said. So again, it's not so much religious as it's more of what I've said.
all right.
So it'll go into detail about what I've said. Right?
Okay. Should be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Thank
mean,
you so
if you
much.
can have a look of that,
Yeah,
please.
sure.
Right.
Sure.
Ultimately, I'll tell you this: like Jesus Christ is Lord. He is a true God, and we would all ask everywhere, men everywhere, to repent and to turn.
Yeah, okay.
And if you need any more information about that, please see the leaf, man.
And just a question is, are you going to upload this or not?
Yeah, we did ask you if you wanted to be filmed, and you did say yes.
To upload?
Yeah, it will be uploaded, unfortunately.
Well, I'm not sure if you can upload this in my consent because it's like I'm not comfortable. I already told her, but she's like, okay, you just need to tell that, okay, you are Muslim and whom do you believe? But I didn't know that we are going to have this much of conversation, right? So...
I did ask you at the beginning, like, do you want to be
okay.
filmed? So that was kind of,
Yeah, okay, then that's
unfortunately.
fine, but still, you need to cut a few parts, right? You can do that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, because it's like I wasn't aware of this conversation before, you know. Like the moment the lady approached me, she
Can I
said,
ask you, what do you find? Do you find the conversation embarrassing? What was
no,
the problem with
it's
the?
not embarrassing, but it's like I would say it's an awkward situation because at times when you know that you believe in a certain religion and you haven't done your homework, I would say that, right? I haven't done that much research in that order.
Of course.
So maybe I cannot answer correctly, or maybe I have
But
answered
I wasn't
something wrong.
Here's the thing, bro. I was not expecting you to know everything I was saying.
Yeah.
My whole
But your
idea of
audience
doing
will
evangelism
react,
is to
right?
reach people who don't know anything about Islam, so they will come to the conclusion that maybe I don't know enough and maybe I want to study. The thing is, this channel is not to shame you. That's the important thing. What we're here to do is to showcase what Muslims and Christians believe. That is it.
Yeah.
We're not trying to shame you as an
then
individual.
that's fine.
And if you admit I don't know anything about this, that doesn't denigrate your position or mine. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just what you know right now. Like nobody's gonna become Muslim or Christian just because me and you spoke to them.
Okay, yeah, all right.
You understand where I'm coming
Thank
from?
you so much.
Right. Well, anyway, see you later. God bless. Take care, man.